It's Walter Williams sitting in for Rush Limbaugh. And right now we have Dr. Thomas Sowell. He's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford University. And we're talking about his latest collection. It's called the Thomas Sowell Reader. And I want to talk about another article among many other wonderful articles in this book. And it's called Ivan and Boris and Us. Now, it turns out that this little story about Ivan and Boris it's about two Russian peasants. And Ivan finds a lamp, a magic lamp, and rubs it, and the genie grants him one wish. It turns out that Boris has a goat and Ivan doesn't. And Ivan wishes for Boris's goat to die. So Tom was suggesting that vision maybe reflects many Americans. Can you explain that a little bit?
Oh, yes. I mean, there are people out there who they want millionaires to be taxed higher. And if you think it through, that's not going to do them the slightest good any more than it would have done to Ivan any good to have Boris's goat die. But this envy and resentment that's being constantly pushed by the Obama administration wins them votes, even if it doesn't collect any tax revenue. Most people are unaware that very high tax rates often bring in even less revenue than the lower tax rate, for the simple reason that people who really are millionaires and billionaires have so many options of where to put their money. And back in the 1920s, they put it in tax-exempt bonds. Yeah. And so the vast majority of income of rich people in the early 20s was never taxed, because they were in tax-exempt securities.
That's right. And rich people did not become rich by being stupid.
That's right. They're not going to stand still like a sheep to be sheared. And currently, for example, in recent years, instead of foreigners sending more money to be invested in the United States, as has usually happened in our history, Americans are sending more money overseas to be invested to get away from the high taxes. Now, all you have to do is jack up the taxes some more, and more of it will go overseas. And all the jobs that could have been created by that money will not be created here. They'll be created, in Europe or Asia somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell us something. It turns out that according to Forbes, the top 10 celebrities, excluding athletes, earn an average salary of a little bit more than $100 million a year in 2010. The top 10 CEOs had an average salary of $43 million a year. Now, there's a lot of hate and criticism of CEOs making millions of dollars, but very little or no criticism of celebrities making much more than CEOs.
When I did research for a previous book, I discovered that the average pay of a CEO of a company big enough to be in the Standard & Poor's Index was 1/30th of what Oprah Winfrey makes. Now, I don't see these big campaigns against Oprah Winfrey, nor should there be. But the point is, it shows the utter hypocrisy of what's being said. If it's the money that's being earned by different people, then the entertainers and the sports stars ought to be criticized more than the CEOs. Now, actually, none of them should be criticized. Because the people are voluntarily paying them for whatever service they're providing.
Mm-hmm. Also, the politicians, they don't want to take over the jobs of the celebrities.
Oh, they can't. I mean, members of Congress could run Oprah Winfrey's show.
But they can take over and interfere with companies.
They have proven that to a certainty. Solyndra is only the latest example.